In my opinion, the greatest challenge facing the world today is climate change. And as an architect, buildings account for 30% of final energy consumption globally. So to address climate change, you have to think about energy efficiency in buildings.
Architecture has a big part to play in climate change. We use a phenomenal amount of energy creating buildings, using buildings. So therefore it's imperative that we make our buildings as energy efficient and as sustainable as possible, using sustainable materials when they're available, making sure that we don't waste unnecessary resources in their construction. So with the houses that we're designing, we're trying to design them to be built in factories. We want the quality to be as high as we can possibly make it. Being able to build houses in factories means that the quality of finishes are extremely high. But what it also enables us to do is to reduce the amount of operational and embodied energy in the houses that we're designing. We can calculate these levels very accurately, and this is how we make our buildings energy efficient. Cutting-edge computer models allow us to accurately predict how a building's going to perform in terms of heat loss and heat gain. It allows us to calculate the embodied carbon. So we already know how a building's going to perform before it's built. Then it's incumbent on us and the construction team to make sure that we build these houses as well as we can. And that's why building in the factory is so important.
In this country, we replace less than 1% of our housing stock every single year. At the moment, we simply don't have the capacity to be rebuilding at that kind of scale when we're already in the middle of a housing crisis. 80% of the houses that we're going to be living in 2050 in the UK have already been built. So we can't just focus on looking at new housing, we also need to think about how we upgrade existing housing. And that is what my research focuses on. So there's quite a lot of research out there that looks at the relative benefits of refurbishing a lot of this older housing stock versus demolishing it and rebuilding it. And almost all of that research comes out on the kind of side of actually once you take into account all of the embodied energy within those existing homes, it makes a lot more sense to renovate, especially when these renovations can achieve up to 70% reductions in energy consumption. For me, it's really important that we understand that we're not just retrofitting houses as in bricks and mortar, we're retrofitting homes. And to understand how to retrofit them and make them more energy efficient, you really have to understand how sustainability fits in with all those other practices that are happening in and around the home.